9. Yahweh called to Adam and said, Adam, Efo ata. Efo ata. Where are you? You know, it's like religion goes, Adam, didn't I tell you not to miss the Southern Baptist Convention? No. Adam, man, what happened? It was the same care and love that Yeshua had in the Garden of Eden. When Yehuda came and Yeshua said to Yehuda, he said, friend, why are you coming? Baruch Hashem Yahweh. So he said, where are you? Are you hiding? And what was the response of Adam? He said, look at verse 10. Adam said, I heard call Yahweh. Now, how did Adam know it was the voice of Yahweh? How did Adam know? Because he knew the name of Yahweh. We don't see Yahweh's name in Genesis chapter 1 because all we have at that point is the Ein Sof before creation. As soon as the cause of creation kicked in, Yahweh threw his name into the picture and go, here's the lifeline, grab it. So today we look back on human history and go, whew, without Yahweh's name, you're not going anywhere. You've got to know the only true name of the Creator, Yahweh. Sure, because we're looking at it in the effect stage of the cause. Is any of this making sense? But before the cause stage of creation, there was no need to grab into any name because he had no name. He was all names and no names at the same time. Who was Yahweh before he brought forth Yeshua? He was all names and no names. Now, verse 10. We'll look at Adam's response. I heard the call, Yahweh, in Gan Eden, and I was afraid because I was naked. I hid myself. Circle those words. I hid. You know what he was doing? He got the concept right, but he was limited by cause and effect, also known as time and space. He knew the thing to do in order to get right with he knew the thing to do in order to get right with Yahweh is to hide himself. See? He knew that was the right thing to do. But he was hiding him in the garden. And Yahweh says, no, son. Come to Messiah. And I'll take off the leaves. I'll take you out from behind the trees. And I'll hide you in the bosom. I'll hide you in the bosom of Ein Sof. The mikvah of Yeshua leads to the mikvah into Ein Sof. If you accept the mikvah of Yeshua on earth, he'll mikvah you back into Ein Sof in eternity future. If you reject the mikvah on earth, you won't be a candidate for the mikvah into the bosom of Ein Sof. One represents the other. The Yom Kippur on earth represents the Yom Kippur in heaven today in the Holy of Holies. Is any of this making sense?
Yes.
Hallelujah.
So you've got to accept the baptism of Yeshua, and you got to be baptized and mikvah into Yeshua, because it symbolizes a greater mikvah. It is not the mikvah of Yeshua; it is the mikvah of the Ein Sof, who we know as the Father. But in those days, he was not even known as the Father. Hello? How could there be a Father, Son, and Holy Ghost when there was not even a Father in the days of Ein Sof? You come to me with a three-person doctrine when there was not even a Father. The word father is a what? It is a improper noun, right? It's a non-personal noun. And the title father, you don't need a father unless you have children. Children are the result of Yahweh's what? Creation. If you don't have creation, you don't have children. And if you don't have children, you don't need to know that the Ein Sof has agreed to be called father for our benefit. He's not father, but for our benefit, he's agreed to be called father.
Amen. Amen.
So we don't think we're alone. We don't think we're orphans. So Adam did the right thing. He hid. What was he doing? He couldn't escape the garden. Hello? So he hid where he could. Isn't that religion? I don't know what's right, but I feel good when I go on Wednesday night. I feel good. So I'm going to hide in the bingo hall. I don't really love Yahweh. I don't really know Yahweh. I don't love the things of Yahweh, but you know, I found this really cool place on Northeast 4th Court in North Miami Beach. I'm going to go there on Shabbat because I just feel better. I just hide. It's just a good place to hide. You're missing it. That's not what it's about. This shouldn't be a cool place to hide. The Garden of Eden was a cool place to hide. How cool was it? He had him walk with Yahweh. He walked with Yahweh in the cool of the day. That was the coolest place to hide.
Hallelujah.
No, man, it's not hiding. It's finding the right place. If you accept the mikvah of Yeshua and you have him in your heart, he will mikvah you into the Ein Sof, where time ceases, cause ceases, effect ceases, Torah ceases. Yeah. Is there a place where Torah ceases to exist? Yeah. It's back in the days, Mekedem and Me'olam, before the days of the earth, before the days of Yeshua. Where did Yeshua spend eternity past? The same way, the same place you and I are going to spend eternity future, so that before Yahweh, Vayikra 16:30, is no longer a place in the east on the Mount of Olives. It is what? A condition of being forever.
Hallelujah. What
kind of condition? The same conditions that ideally existed in the days before Yahweh was even known as Yahweh. Is this deep enough for you? Do I have to go on Oprah Winfrey to go deeper?
No.
But we're going to get deeper. Turn to your neighbor and say, we're going to get deeper. Bereshis. So where was he supposed to hide? Hide himself in the Ein Sof. Look, let me read this to you. I don't want to miss this. The verb for sin is the word chet. It's not a noun. Sin. It's a verb. It means, what does chet mean? Sin, to miss the target, miss the goal. Sin differs from violation or breach. Listen. Sin is a failure to fulfill something to oneself. The sinner is a person who has missed out on his life, his potential, his purpose. So he is a failure in the eyes of Yahweh. On Yom HaKippurim, when we address the issue of sin, we ask ourselves, where are you? And what kind of person have you become? It is a question Elohim asks us. We must reach a condition where we are no longer satisfied, where we are and where we hide and what we have become. We must realize what we can be. This is a day when we realize that there's something better than hiding in the Garden of Eden and being covered with the blood of atonement. Yes, the blood of atonement is the means to an end. It is not the end of the journey.
Hallelujah.
Make sense?
Amen.
The blood takes you to the womb of Ein Sof. You may not experience that womb till you go to be with Ein Sof. And how you go to be with Ein Sof? Through calling on Yahweh, the name that he has allowed himself to be known by. He has allowed it. It's not his name. I know that think about it and you'll understand. Yes, for us as creations, it's the only name. Amen? It's the only name. But once we are no longer part of creation, but we are a renewed creation, and we're no longer the old creation, we are like our older brother Yahshua, who says, I will proclaim your name, Psalm 22, verse 22, in the midst of the assembly, I will praise your name, because the older brother came forth from the womb of the Ein Sof, and we are like our older brother, we also shall be restored to the womb, so that the way back to Eden is not a forward progress of changing your future, it is a way to get back to the past, not to the days of hiding in the garden, because that ain't going to cut it. In the garden, you'll meet S.A.10. So all this religion, well, brother, if you come to our congregation, we'll show you how to have the Garden of Eden restored in your life. Come here. Yahweh wants to bring you back and bypass the garden. Way back. Where there's no garden, there's no Satan, there's no work, there's no labor, there's no toil. There's no Moadim. You don't even have to keep the feast because he's all in all, you in him, he in you, and you are one with the Yahweh family, and now you're part of the Ein Sof.
Amen.
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 We must realize that we want to reach a condition where we say, what have we become? What have we done? So we need the Torah to know where to turn. How do we turn back? And we turn back in our lives. Every time we turn back, we're being reborn. Did you know that? Hello?
Amen.
Did you know that? If Yahweh renews the heavens and the earth every Yom Kippur, the 10 days of awe, how much of us in our lives? Yahweh doesn't say turn and die. He says turn and live. So he will renew every area of your life. You used to be a gambler. You had a problem with gambling. Okay, stop talking about it. Stop getting counseling. Get off. Don't say it, Rabbi. I was going to say a bad word. Get off the phone. Get off the phone and turn. You don't even have to pray. This is so easy. People say, well, I pray all. Yeah, I know. Sometimes there's a time for prayer and there's a time for doing. Most of what Yahweh's will is here. Yahweh's will is revealed. There's nothing to pray about. It's a matter of doing. Get off the phone. Turn to Yahweh in the area. Stop gambling. Stop this. Stop that. Turn and you become reborn in your life. In that area of your life, he'll bring birth. He'll bring forth fruit. Hello? So did Adam have the right concept? He did. Of course he did. He was hiding. The trick is don't hide in the garden of your choosing, where Satan is. Hide in the garden of my choosing. And the more areas of life that we turn over to Yeshua, the more we become like Yeshua on this earth. The more Teshuvah we do in the more areas of our life, the more we become like Yeshua on this earth. And what does Yahweh say when we don't turn up over areas of our life? What does Yahweh say? Where are you? Where are you, man? How many times do I have to send correction into your life? Yahweh doesn't punish his children. People think, oh, Yahweh's punishing me. You can't. The Bible would be a lie if Yahweh punishes children. He corrects us, and I'll be darned if it don't feel like punishment. Because that doesn't, it's no fun to get disciplined. Hello?
No fun.
For Yahweh scourges every son whom he receives. He chastises every son whom he receives. So we're not punished, but we are disciplined. So chet means to miss the target. Amen. Now go with me to Bereshis. Now we're going to go back to the days of Ein Sof. Actually, just the days after that. So let's look at this. Bereshit 1, 6 through 8. And by the way, you want to know how to get born again? There it is, Genesis 1:1. In the beginning, Elohim created the heavens and the earth. Who is the Elohim? No? Yeshua. So in other words, the fact that we have a Bible is proof that Yahweh has a creation. What was the cause and effect of man? The cause is man. The effect is we need a Bible. So where do we find the days of Ein Sof? Where did Yahweh want us put us in the womb of Ein Sof? Before there was why do you need a Bible? The only reason you need a Bible is to teach you right from wrong and how to find out about who the Savior is and how to call upon the Savior and how to know Yahweh's name. Hello? What Bible did they use in the days of Ein Sof before Yeshua was brought forth? None. But when Yahweh allowed Yeshua to speak the world into existence and the world was created, what happened then? The creation came into the world and now we need a Bible. So where are you going to find the days of Ein Sof? You won't. You know why? Because Ein Sof doesn't have a Bible. He is all the Bibles and none of the Bibles at the same time. Amen?
Amen.
So wait a second. So who wrote the Bible?
Yeshua.
Yeshua did. Of course.
Yeshua.
Of course he did. He's the Word.
He
He's the word spoken. He's the creative word. He's also the written word. He's also the living word. The Father, the Ein Sof, appears nowhere except through. Yeshua said, he said, no man knows the Father except the one to whom the Son will reveal him. And no man knows the Son except the Father allow us to know the Son. Okay, Bereshis 1:6 and 8. And Elohim said, let an expanse come in the midst of the waters, and let it separate the waters from the waters. And Elohim made the expanse and separated the waters which were under the expanse from the waters which were above the expanse, and so it came to be. Elohim called the expanse heaven. There came to be evening, there came to be morning, second day. By the way, for all those people, that's a very new popular teaching now in the Messianic movement, that the biblical day begins at sunrise. Read this again and you'll see that is boguska. That's the Polish way of saying bogus. Alright? Now look at the way Yahweh reckons time. Look at verse 8. There came to be evening and morning, day 2. Hello? Then if you jump down to 19, there came to be evening and morning, day 4. Evening plus morning equals day 4. Evening plus morning equals day 5. The Hebrew reckons time from evening, not morning. So all this new doctrine that's making its way on the internet, that the real day begins at sunrise, give them a message from Rabbi Moshe. Tell them to please give up their Titanic theology.
Going down with the ship.
Baruch Hashem Yahweh. All right.
Preach it, Rabbi.
May your tribe increase. Then he made the upper waters and lower waters. The upper waters, look, were close to the Creator, and they were separated from the lower waters from Him, because the Zohar says the lower waters, this is Jewish mysticism, the lower waters began to weep and to say. This is from Tikkunel Zohar, chapter 5. This is mystical, but this is what the lower waters began to say. We too want to be in the presence of the King. Now this didn't happen, but just go with me for a second in the esoteric realm, okay? So when Yahweh separated the upper waters from the bottom waters, in Jewish mysticism, the bottom waters used to complain and say, we want to be like the upper waters, we want to be closer to the King. Amen. The reason I'm sharing this with you is the lower waters wanted to return to their source. That is the essence of Teshuvah. Genuine Teshuvah is the weeping because of separation from Yahweh, or the source of Ein Sof, saying, why am I not closer to heaven? By looking at the lower waters on the earth and saying, that, what is the attitude of the lower waters according to Jewish mysticism? I want to be like the upper waters. I want to be what? Closer to heaven, and I want to be like what? The waters of heaven that are part of heaven. Amen? Amen. What did he call the waters above? What did he call the waters above?
Heaven.
May your tribe increase. He called the waters above heaven. So the attitude of the waters beneath, which is a type of you and me, mankind beneath, we don't want to be part of creation over here on the earth. Teshuvah means I'll do anything I need to return to the place of the upper waters, i.e. heaven, i.e. the home of Yeshua, because the home of Yeshua was created for Yeshua, because before Yahweh brought forth Yeshua from his bosom, he didn't live in heaven. He was nothing and everything everywhere at once and at the same time.
Amen.
Make sense? So, Teshuvah means is to have the attitude of the lower waters. Let's read that again, because some of you missed it. Look at this. Elohim made the expanse, separated the waters under the expanse from the waters over the expanse. He called the waters of the above the expanse heaven, and it came to be. So the waters above the expanse are heaven. So Teshuvah has the attitude of, I don't want to go back to the garden. Excuse me, time out. Did the lower waters have this attitude before the Garden of Eden or after the Garden of Eden?
Before.
Before.
You sure now? You don't want to pray about it?
There was no garden there.
So here is the attitude of the separated cause and effect. What was the cause of this separation? Creation. What was the effect of this separation? Separation. So Teshuvah is the attitude of the lower waters that say, I want to become one with the upper waters, i.e. one with the womb of heaven, also known as the bosom of Ein Sof. Is this beautiful stuff?
Hallelujah.
Now I know it's not literal. Please don't give me a lecture. All right? Don't come to me with a Jesuit lecture. All right? And tell me how that's all figurative. But there's a lot of things in Jewish mysticism that we could really grab onto. For instance, before you throw out the baby with the bathwater and think that everything that's in Jewish mysticism is wrong, smoke this one. In the Hoshana Rabbah commentary of Genesis 1, and it says in verse 3, the Ruach of Yahweh, look at verse 2, the Ruach of Elohim moved on the face of the water. And what do we see there? Pashat. What's Pashat? The Ruach of Elohim moved on the water. That's Pashat. What do the rabbis say? Listen. In the Hoshana Rabbah commentary of Bereshit 1, it says, the spirit that moved on the waters was the spirit of the King Messiah to redeem those below. Now, if they don't know Yeshua, would you please explain to me how they attributed the spirit of Elohim to be the very spirit of the Messiah that moved upon the waters? Do you get it? Why did the spirit move upon the waters? Because the lower waters needed to be reunited and rejoined to the upper waters. Why did the spirit of Elohim move upon the waters? To bring the lower waters back to heaven, because the lower waters, from the lower waters would come forth that which we know today as the earth. So we say, oh, Rabbi, that's just Talmud. That's just, listen, you got to be mature enough, old enough, wise enough, counseled enough to know how to chew it, spit out the bones, and keep the meat. There I go. Another food. Golly!
We're bound by that one, aren't we?
At least we don't have somebody cooking in the microwave at 2 o'clock. So we got to know how to chew the blank meat and spit out the bones. If we throw everything out that's rabbinical, we are cheating ourselves of so much. It is ridiculous. Okay? We don't know all the sins in our lives, so the rabbis put a siddur together, so by beating our chest, we probably nailed just about every one that we forgot. Now you can call that dry liturgy. I call that wisdom.
Amen.
Hallelujah.
Baruch Hashem Yahweh. So if the Ruach of Yahweh is the Ruach of Moshiach, moving, look at verse 2, moving on the face of the waters. So when Yeshua moves, it brings unity. So the effect of creation was disunity between the above waters and the below waters. But when the spirit of Moshiach moved on the waters, there was unity. And the spirit of Moshiach will move again in the last days to recreate everything so that the creation is hidden not in the garden, but back in the womb of Ein Sof. I know this is hitting home. This might be one of the best messages I've ever preached. Baruch Hashem Yahweh. That's what the Ruach does. It's designed to take all those who are product of the waters below and reunite it with the waters above. And isn't that what the two houses is? We couldn't get along, so Yahweh says, Kamia Hatfields, Kamia Israelite McCoys, Israelite McCoy, meet Israelite Hatfield, shake hands, and come out hugging. Shake hands. Shake hands. In order to shake hands, you have to live in Shaker Village. So the genuine Teshuvah is the attitude of the waters below weeping because of separation from the source, saying, why am I not in the heavenly waters. What caused me to be down here? I want to be hidden in the heavenly waters, which are hidden in Ein Sof. That's the attitude of Teshuvah. Bring me all the way back. The mystery of Teshuvah is we're not going back to Eden. That's the bad news. Hello? The good news is we're going back to the womb of Ein Sof. Well, Rabbi, that doesn't square with Revelation 22. Sure it does. Sure it does. Because there are 2 trees for the healing of the nations, bearing their fruits for all 12 months. There is not 1 tree of life and 1 tree of the knowledge of good and evil. There are 2 trees of life, symbolic of life, for both returning houses of Israel. So someone's going to say to me, Rabbi, this doesn't line up with Revelation 22. Oh, yes, it does, sweetheart. Just sit still and hush that mouth. Revelation 22 says there are 2 trees for the healing of the nations. Neither tree has a Satan on it, and neither tree is the knowledge of good and evil. They're both trees of life, because both houses of Israel need life, not just 1 month, but all 12 months out of the year. And so the fruit is for the healing of both houses of Israel, Judah and Ephraim, no accident. And the leaves are not for hiding, but the leaves are for the healing of creation, so that the product of cause and effect can be destroyed, and all of our lives, all our ministry, all of our being can now take place before Yahweh. Before Yahweh. You understand? Baruch Hashem Yahweh. So look at the attitude of the waters. We want to be in the presence of the King. We want to be in the presence of the King. Teshuvah is motivated not, oh, I got a record, oh, I got caught, oh, I got fingerprinted, oh, I got to change, oh, I'm going to lose my apartment, oh. Find someone who's sleeping and say, hey, I got food for you. Teshuvah is motivated by a desire to get back united with the waters above. The womb is full of, what's that called? Amniotic fluid? Want to help me? What's the official term? Amniotic sac, amniotic fluid?
Yes.
Water.
You're about 90%.
So the waters above are in the womb of Ein Sof, and the attitude of the water below is, hey, I've drunk of the Atlantic and it stinks. I want to get back into the waters of the womb of Ein Sof. And so we have the attitude of Teshuvah is, no, I don't want to get religious. No, I don't want to feel better. No, I don't want to feel like I gave money to charity. I want to get back to the waters of Ein Sof, because the waters of Ein Sof are in the womb of Ein Sof, so that the upper waters are symbolic of the womb of Ein Sof. Where did Yeshua come from? The same waters of Ein Sof. He's our older brother. You must be born again.
Amen.
Teshuvah, therefore, is a return to Yahweh, Ein Sof, Moshiach through Torah. Water in Scripture is a metaphor also for man. Man is a river. Listen. The water of life flows onwardly, constantly. Teshuvah is a river that wants to reverse direction and return to its source and merge back with the sea of its source. A river desires to return to its source, but must follow its course as it flows and picks up debris. So what is our life? Our life is like a river that picks up rocks and debris as it flows away from its source. Teshuvah is to take the waters, reconnect with the waters above, and come to the waters above, seek the waters above, desire the waters above, even with all the rocks, dirt, and debris hanging out in the rivers as we meander away from the source. Teshuvah says, I want to take this river and return and go back to the source. And the way we return back to the source and find out where the river is meandering is Torah. Torah will tell us how the river can flow back to its source, back into the sea, to be reunited with the source of the water of the womb of Ein Sof, as opposed to just being dumped on in every hook, cranny, and village. A river left to its own accord will what? Flow and meander into every hook, every cranny, every village, every religion. I'll try this. Well, you know, brother, I tried Mormonism. It wasn't for me. Now I'm going to try the Hare Krishnas. But that wasn't for me, so now I'm going to try Mormoni baloney and wait for the angel Balogna to appear to me in my flat. in Greenwich Village while I live a lesbian lifestyle. Hang on, Bubba. It's going to be a long time till Yahweh shows up. We are like a river of the waters below that keep going away from its source, but in our heart we cry for Teshuvah, to be reunited back to the days that we knew nothing about. And Yahweh says, I've got a deal for you you cannot refuse. He says, I'll take you back beyond Eden if you'll give me your life, if you'll give me your heart, if you'll give me your mind, if you'll give me your strength, if you'll give me every day of your life. Too much prayer and not enough doing. That's the problem with the children of Israel. I'd rather do the work of Yahweh than pray about it. I can get you and someone else to pray for me. I got to do the work of Yahweh. I got to work the day of him that is called day, while it is yet day, for the night cometh when no man can work. I tried being a priest?
No, man, you tried being.
Oh, man, I tried being. I thought you said, may I be a priest? The Jesuits. Oh, they're after me. I got to call Chick Publishing, quick. Who's got the number? I knew Yaffa would appreciate that one. Baruch Hashem Yahweh. Baruch Hashem Yahweh. Oh, there's so much good Tov stuff. Tov me'od. Oh, Teshuvah is returning home, not the home of our fathers, but the home of the soul. I want to go back to Israel. I want to go back. I got news for you. Go back. Enjoy your life. You're still going to die in Israel instead of dying in New York. Yahweh says the home of the soul. You understand? Israel is a type of the home of the soul. There's a better aliyah.
Amen.
It's the lower waters going aliyah and going up and being reunited to the heavenly waters and the waters of the womb of Ein Sof. So do I believe in aliyah? Count me in. But this is the kind of aliyah you don't have to lie and say, do you believe in Jesus? No, man, no. Yeshua, pero no Jesus. Yeah, but to the Israeli government, they're the same person. So you lie on the application, but I'm in. I know people from this congregation, I won't name any names, who went to an Orthodox synagogue for 4 months before they made Aliyah to Israel, just so they can be converted and have a letter from an Orthodox rabbi. I can get a letter. I have enough connections. I can call an Orthodox rabbi and say, hey, Uncle VZ, I need for you to make for me a kvizi now. I want to take my wife, the wife of my youth, and I want to make an aliyah. Can you write down that you've known me for 20 years and I paid the tithes and I give chai and I buy tickets for Yom Kippur? Can you give me a letter of recommendation? I can get a letter. Yes, Moshe Konachowski is not a rabbi.